Because initially, when it first happened, I didn't know how to feel. I genuinely didn't know how to feel. I didn't know what emotions to feel.
Boxer Anthony Yarde is used to training to block painful punches, but after his father and grandmother both died days apart due to the coronavirus, he wrote this Instagram post sharing his loss and empathy for the pain families are going through. So Anthony, I'm sure when you first were looking forward to 2020, you didn't see it going the way that it has. If you could just talk me through what happened to both your grandmother and your father.
As far as I'm concerned, they contracted the virus. I think it was my dad first that contracted it. They were in Israel, which I believe to have been it was a trip, something to do with the church or something like that. My dad wasn't even very religious, but his mum was extremely religious, so he went with her to support her or whatever. And I believe that's where they attracted the virus. It could have been there or on the way back, I don't know. But yeah, they both passed away, days apart. My dad went first, and then my nan was like 2 or 3 days after. 3 days after. So yeah, it's one of them situations that you can't prepare for it. You know, looking into 2020, I never expected a lot of the things that have happened so far, from things I heard on the news, you know, just other situations that have happened around the world. And then this, you know, no one's expected it. A lot of people, there's been memes going around on social media, there's been people talking and saying 2020 has been trash. It's just literally been the worst thing that's happened. But again, you know, every time there's something bad, there's something good. Every time there's something good, there's usually something bad. It's called balance. So that's the outlook I've got in life.
And for most people, the coronavirus has been a news story or meme, as like you've been talking about, but for you, it actually has impacted both your career, but also your family. How hard has it been for you to stay positive? Because I know you're a positive person. I know you keep positive people around you.
It's as hard as life. You know, I try and just compare everything to life, and life is it's a journey. It's not really a destination. Depends on your beliefs, but whilst you're going through life, you know, pain is mandatory. You have to go through some sort of pain, whether it's emotional pain, physical pain. You need to go through it. People get emotionally stronger by going through pain. Your bone gets stronger if it heals right. It gets stronger if you break a bone. When you're a baby and you grow teeth, it hurts, you cry. So all forms of growth, I believe, you know, have some sort of pain behind it. You know, it's early days for me to actually say, you know, this is going to make me stronger or whatever. I try to separate boxing from emotion. You know, it can motivate you. You can say, you know, I want to just stay extra focused now or whatever. But in terms of thinking about anything that upsets you or anything negative during your training for something that's going to make you happy, I just never agree with it.
In a ring, you're able to protect yourself. As a boxer, you're told to protect yourself at all times. When it comes to the virus, it's something that people can't see. So when you've been going around doing your runs and you've seen people not taking it seriously and they don't even have the means to protect themselves like you do, how has it made you feel?
It's made me feel angry, disappointed, upset, because I've been through it. I had this conversation the other day with my friends. You know, we're in a group chat. And I said to someone called someone else a hypocrite. And I said, to be honest, everybody's a hypocrite. So I never really believed in that word. You know, everybody at some point in their life does something which they wouldn't like to be done to them. It's human nature. So in the beginning, I wasn't leaving the house. Even before the bad news happened, and just shortly after, I wasn't leaving at all. The deaths of my grandmum and my dad led me to going out, and it wasn't to mingle, it wasn't to go there around and sit down. Again, everybody's different, everyone deals with things different. Mental health is a real thing. I'm not saying I'm anywhere near that, no way, shape or form. But staying indoors, locked in your house, same routines every day, you know, I'm an energetic person, hence boxing. So having to stay in your house and burn off energy in certain ways, you know, I've been doing workouts on YouTube. I've been doing shadow boxing. It's not the same as hitting a bag. It's not the same as sparring. It's not the same as doing pad work. So again, you try to occupy yourself as much as possible, but fresh air is a real thing. The first time I went out, I went for a bike ride with some of my friends. We agreed to all keep our distance, similar to this now. But go on a bike ride up to London and get some fresh air. At the same time, using it as a opportunity to exercise. When I see people in the parks or just sitting on a bench, mingling, talking, smoking to talk, I just see it as like, you obviously know what's going on, but you haven't taken time to be considerate, because it might not be you, it might not be someone in your family, it could be the fact that you go out, it could be a sneeze, it could be a handshake, it could be a form of excitement, it could be you just wiping your nose, you don't know, and you could infect somebody else. You could go home and infect like someone elderly, someone younger, and it's not really you that gets affected physically, but you will be affected emotionally. So I just tell people to use your minds, man, and think about a bigger picture.
We're both from the same community. We're both part of the demographic that's been hit the most by this pandemic. I'm not going to ask you to answer why that's happened, but are you worried for not just your family members, but for the wider community when it comes to people either not taking it seriously enough, or when your lockdown eventually starts to ease, we're still going to be potentially very close to being impacted?
Do you know, the way I see it is this: there's been so much conspiracy around this virus thing, and my conversation's always been this: if you do not know for 100%, if it's not factual information to you, it's not worth the risk. I've had my friends, even down to at the funeral. So at the funeral of my dad, and this was a couple of days ago, there was still, I won't name who it was, but there were still people saying, nah, it's fake. It's it's caused by this, it's caused by that. I'm saying speculation. I said, I might even agree with you to some extent. I might not agree with you, but it's not worth you saying, I'm going to come and shake everyone's hand, I'm going to hug everybody, because I believe within myself that it's not real. When, there's certain people that have proven that this is actually a virus. Certain people actually just, they're locked inside their own mind, and once they believe something, that's it. There's no change in their mind, and that's sometimes a problem. That's why you're seeing people out in the park saying, not that I'm immune to this, but it don't exist. They've given vaccines to people that have made it happen. There's all these conspiracies behind it, but no one really knows. So is it worth the risk? That's been my argument this whole time. I'm all for a debate. I'm one of the people that will sit there when I'm bored and debate for an hour, but it's not worth the risk. No one's giving me a valid reason or a valid point of it being worth a risk.
So would you rather people take it seriously than ignore it? As if
100%. 100%. You need to take it seriously, because there's been so many deaths. There's been millions of people affected by this. Millions. So again, I'm not a person that feels sorry for myself, because I've always known that you can, if you just look around the world, look at what's happening around the world, look in what's happening in other countries, where there's not systems that's put in place to protect people as much. People haven't got clean drinking water. If you look around the world and you see how people live their day-to-day lives, you can't feel sorry for yourself. It's almost disrespectful to feel sorry for yourself in any situation where you've had the opportunity to have clean drinking water, you've had the opportunity to laugh and joke with your family, you've had the opportunity to live in a clean household, experience things like going on holiday. You still experience. That's why every single moment in my life that I experience something, happy or something good, I'll take it in with full effect. And that's another thing that keeps me strong as well. Like, who am I to be thinking I have a reason to feel like I'm being hard done by? It's not. I'm not the only person it's happening to.
And when it comes to the funeral that you had, obviously when it comes to a funeral setting, usually, as you said, there's the handshakes, there's the hugs, the condolences, there's empathy shown through touch, but in the times we're in right now, we can't do that. So how hard was it for you, your family and your friends to not be able to physically condole each other?
Not too hard for me. It's just the way I'm set up. I don't. If I'm upset, I don't want to be hugged. I like attaching hugs and embracing people with positivity. I like. Everybody's different. Some people just want to hug when they're upset. Me, if I feel a certain type of way or I'm giving off a negative energy, I don't want to hug nobody because I believe that energy is transferable. And when I believe in attaching things to other things basically, and I like attaching hugs with positive energy, positive vibrations, and just being happy. I don't want to hug someone for too long and feel like and get that memory of when I was sad. Does that make sense? It's like everybody's different, but I like, if I'm upset, I just like to not only be by myself. I just want everyone around me to try and be normal. One thing you do hear a lot, which is normal because I do it, is condolences. I'm sorry to hear about your loss, and it's just like for the split second you get it out of your mind, you get reminded of it again. And I'm the person that's most guilty because it's usually the nicest people that say it, and I just want to make sure you're okay. But one thing I've learned from the situation is that sometimes people don't want to be reminded. They just want to have a good positive conversation or a normal conversation that they would have had before it happened. And I don't know, that's the way I've dealt with it. I messaged my closest friends and I said, I beg everybody just be normal. Still banter me, cuss me about my big forehead. Have laugh and jokes in the group chat, cuss each other, send memes. Everybody just be normal because it keeps you in that positive, happy mindset.
And do you think that's the hardest thing that the whole of society has to do, is when the lockdown ends and life goes back to normality, to go back to a place where people can joke, they can laugh, they can hold hands, they can handshake, they can hug, without thinking back to a time when that wasn't possible and sadly people like yourself lost their loved ones?
Exactly. I just feel like everybody's different, and it's about something else I learned from this as well is to tell people how you feel whilst they're still here. There was a moment between me and my friends and me and my family actually where we told each other how much we mean to each other. There was a question that got put in my group chat of if this situation happened, who would you trust to do this? And it spiraled a massive conversation, and it ended up being a thing where people started talking about their other friends in the group and explaining why they appreciate them, how they haven't changed, and things they do well. And this caused people to also say things that were on their chest. I didn't appreciate what you've done this. And then it's all love at the end of the day, and it's like, I feel like that's something that a lot of people need to learn to do, because once somebody's gone, it's too late. It's too late. They end up going to the gravestone and talking to the gravestone, and then that all comes down to belief. But you can only see how someone's reacting to what you're saying when you're talking to them face to face. I don't agree with phone conversations. If you're talking about something seriously, I don't agree with phone conversations. I don't agree with messaging. If you're gonna have a serious conversation, meet up with the person and have a heart. I always call it a heart to heart, because you're expressing your feelings to the other person, and you can see by each other's reaction. There's different forms of communication: talking, hearing, seeing, and feeling. So when you're actually seeing the other person's reaction and you're having that communication with each other, it's more heartfelt. It's more serious.
Now, as a boxer, it's taking you to a platform where you're also a role model. You're also someone that people look up to. How important was it to use the tragedy that happened to you and your family and the voice that you have to be able to put a message out there on your Instagram like you did?
Initially I wasn't going to say nothing, but then I started getting a lot of messages anyway, because my dad's side of the family were very big. My dad knew a lot of people, or a lot of people knew my dad, and a lot of people started messaging me, condolences. And me and my dad didn't necessarily grow up close. We didn't grow up. I wasn't growing up always being around my dad or anything like that. But people still knew, because he used to, due to being proud about what I've achieved, etc., he used to talk about me a lot. So that caused people to actually know that I was his son, and a lot of people started messaging me. So I started looking at even on my Instagram, and I was seeing people was mentioned, because when I look at my Instagram, because I get so many messages, I'll pay attention to what I'm mentioned in. So if someone's mentioned my name, I'll look at when it says mention, and I started seeing people posting saying condolences. So I was like, oh, here we go. Spoke to my mum about it, see how she felt, and she was like, that's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I'm one of the people that like to embrace situations. I feel like if you take control of a situation before it spirals out of control, then you're the one that's caused that effect. If it happens unexpectedly, you might not like the outcome. Because when I first got a couple messages, I was upset. I was like, why are people messaging me? But then when you just, you pull it out there, that's what it is now. It makes it easier for you to deal with it and be able to talk about it and just have that conversation. Because initially, when it first happened, I didn't know how to feel. I genuinely didn't know how to feel. I didn't know what emotions to feel. I didn't know, there was so much that went through my head, there's so much natural emotions that happen. Not anything I'm telling myself, but just natural emotions that went through. And yeah.
If you were to give a message to someone else that's lost a parent during this time and they're struggling with their emotions, they're struggling to stay positive, what would it be?
Mourn when you need to mourn. Talk. Even if you're talking just to yourself, but out in the open. Mourn when you need to mourn. Mourning is very important, because if you don't mourn, you might mourn at a later date. So mourn when you need to. Try to attach yourself to positive and happy feelings. Try to only dwell on the positive memories. And try to just make them proud, The things that they wanted of you, that you were struggling to do, that were good for you, or things you wanted to do that they wanted for you, but you're struggling to do. Use it as motivation to actually achieve them things, whether it's, to quit smoking, whether it's to start to go to the gym, whether it's to complete a diploma. Anything that you necessarily want to do but you're struggling to do that they would have been proud of, use it as motivation to achieve that, because it's all about growth. Any way you can grow and any motivation you can use to grow in life, I feel like it's necessary.
And in terms of, as you spoke about your father being proud of you because you are a boxer, you've grown into a man and you are a role model. If we look back, 2019, you had a world title shot. I'm sure 2020 you were trying to build on that. Yes. We've had this coronavirus which has stopped everything. What are your boxing plans going forward?
To be honest, it's just to remain focused, because this kind of situation shows you that we're not in control. I'm not in control. I can't, unless I go to the park and tell someone to put on some boxing gloves, I'm not in control. So it's about just remaining focused, you see me, still in shape, try to stay in shape. No, but I'm joking. Just try and stay focused, man. Just try and stay motivated. Try and keep your goals at the forefront of your mind. Just try and elevate and progress in any way you can. Even if it's not in your career, because you're not in control of it, just try and progress in another area. I feel like progression is you're leading, you're going in the right direction towards, accomplishment. Even if it's, as I said to you before, it don't matter what it is, as long as you progress in some way, shape or form where you can feel good about yourself. It's not about other people feeling good about you. It's 9 times out of 10, it's about you feeling good about yourself, because it's a chain reaction. When you feel good about yourself, the people that love and care about you will feel proud of you. It causes a chain reaction. I feel good about myself. I'm proud of myself. My parents are going to be proud of me. I'm proud of my parents. It's one of the things that bounce off of each other. And sometimes, people feel like they're alone in the world. They do things for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with actually just doing something to make yourself happy, and only yourself. So that's the only piece of advice I'll give. I can't give advice based on everyone, because as I said to you before, everyone deals with things differently. Things affect people differently. The way these things have affected me, it might affect someone else completely different.
So do you still see yourself one day having another world title shot?
Oh, 100%. Without a doubt, there will definitely be another world title shot.
After only starting boxing aged 19, last year in Russia, Anthony challenged for a world title. Despite his opponent's huge advantage in experience, Yarde nearly defeated light heavyweight champion Sergey Kovalev.
This is the opportunity!
But his all-or-nothing strategy wasn't successful. In defeat, Anthony learnt valuable lessons.
Again, it's like this situation as well has caused me to actually look back and look at the things I've accomplished. I even posted something on my Instagram the other day and said, message to self. And at the end of the message I said, well, during the message I was just saying, look at the progression, you know. People fail to look at the positive things they've done in their life, how they've made their life better. Then I said at the end of the message, I'm proud of you, Ant. So I was talking in the third person, but it's one of the things that you never actually look back and see what you've achieved and where I was even 5 years ago, 7 years ago. Wow, because 7 years ago I was the typical, not fully, but I was to some degree I was the typical. I was the the person that everyone you look at, you walk away from them. Not even on the way I was dressing, not even on the way I was carrying myself, but my demeanor. I was just, why was I angry? Why was I aggressive? Why was I, I felt like people were against me. The way you change your life around and use them experiences to make you a better person, nothing but fantastic.
And you don't know this, but you fought at the Copper Box Arena, and I was there. I was there with my friend, and your family and friends were literally the row in front of us. Yeah. And this is way before I was in the ITV and way before you had a world title shot. But even just from watching there, obviously you won the fight, but also you had friends and family around you who supported you and they were cheering the loudest out of everyone there. How important has it been during this period and periods going forward to keep the right people around you?
I feel like it's like 90%, because I'm one of the people that the things I try to learn about or the things I give my attention to are the things that, again, will help me progress in the areas I want to progress in. And that's that I want to become richer. I want to have more assets, less liabilities, and all them kind of things. So I saw something that said, you are I'm trying to find the right word. You are a product, or you are an extension of the people you choose to spend most of your time with. And that hit home, because the people not even the people, I've always been around the same people, I've always had the same friends, but there was a couple that I had to let go. I literally had to let some of these people go because their ways of thinking wasn't in a progressive format. I have to laugh because some of the things that people said to me, I have to laugh. My first time I got any form of cash, these people are saying to me, are you ready? Let's turn it over. Let's do this, let's do that. And I was looking back at them and saying to myself, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, I'm not trying to go backwards in life. Are you listening to what you're saying? Clearly you don't have any confidence in me, because if you look at what Floyd Mayweather's achieved, you wouldn't be saying that. If you look at what Mike Tyson achieved in his prime, you wouldn't be saying that. If you looked at all these greats, even current champions, even somebody that went up relatively quickly and then they've gone downwards in the sport of boxing in the eyes of the public, someone like Adrian Broner, how quick he became a millionaire and things like that. Why would you say that to me? So clearly you don't have any form of confidence. And then the people that are around me supporting me, are people that are like-minded, people that are also trying to progress, people that are trying to, go into the property field, people that want to go into other sports, people that are just working normal 9-to-5 jobs but want to have a successful family, they want to stay with their one woman and have kids and build a family, something they never had. These are all like-minded people in certain areas. They want to progress. They ain't trying to go backwards. So again, having the right people around you plays a major part.
And then specifically, from what I see from Tunde Ajayi, he is from my perspective, one of the most inspirational people out there. He's always positive and he's always got something nice to say or a smile on his face. When you have someone like that, not just as your friend, but in your corner, how easy does it make you to think, actually, 2019, I had a world title shot. Going forward, I'm going to have another world title shot. And all of the things you just listed, all of the dreams and aspirations you have, one by one, I'm going to achieve them.
For me, it's extremely important. Extremely important. Again, Tunde is one of them people. He will say it. He said it in interviews before. He's very open about it. The reason why me and Tunde are so close, or Tunde's got so much love for me, is because when he was going through a period of time where he was going through something tough, I was there for him, and it wasn't a thing where I was there for him for anything in return. It's just my personality. I'm one of the people I can hold myself strong. I give good advice most of the time, and I was literally just there for him. I knew what Tunde was about. Tunde, he lives and breathes, and everything to do with his life is boxing. And when he was going through the period he was going through, he was on the verge of giving up boxing, and that's why he wasn't going in the right direction, in any way, shape or form. And he always, sometimes he just randomly messages me and says, "I love you, Ant, man. Like you." When them, and he won't talk about any particular people, but he says, when them lot was gone, because you was there for me, and he would get emotional. So he tries to do the same, but again, Tunde, sometimes he has his own way of, letting out how he feels and his emotion. That's why sometimes he gets a lot of stick. He's very impulsive. Whatever's on Tunde's mind at that moment, he will say out loud. And I'm one of the people in the background saying, relax, you can't do that. When the camera's in your face, you need to think about what you're saying. So again, we have these conversations, and it's part of growth. The world title shot that we had, that came out of nowhere. We climbed the ladder very, very quickly. Almost no experience. Trooper mentality, saying we're gonna go in there and do this. He got a lot of stick after the fight for some of the advice he was given, but at the time, it was probably needed. It's probably the wrong wording, but anyone that knows him knew what he meant, and afterwards we both said we've both grown from it. I made mistakes in the ring, he made mistakes out of the ring, but we also both done fantastic things. So we can't focus on the things that we did wrong. Everyone does things wrong. Floyd Mayweather done things wrong in these fights.
Is that why it's important that despite that loss, you and him are still together and there's still a partnership?
Most definitely. I got the most amount of messages say, I leave Tunde ain't good for you, Tunde is this for you, Tunde is that for you. That was bad advice. He did this wrong. Why is he always in the camera? Why? All the negatives. But they didn't look at the positives. They did not look at the positives and say, how did a kid started boxing when he was 19 years old? How did he get a world title fight when he's literally days after he turns 28? And he's just started boxing, learning how to box at the age of 19. How is that even possible? When I started learning how to box, I was 19 years old. That's when Kovalev beat Cleverly, and he destroyed him. And he came over to England to do it. Kovalev had over 200 amateur fights. I had 12. So, yes, everything was screaming, this is impossible. And I had to go out there and knock him out. I wasn't going to go out there and get points because he had the fight set up with Canelo next, which is a big money fight. People that know boxing know how the game goes. My only option was to go out there and win by knockout. So when the 8th round came and I realised I hurt him, I was going to go for it. Full throttle with no returns, without thinking about if it don't work out. When the bell rang, everyone saw me look up at the sky and take a deep breath because I was tired. It's nothing to hide, everyone saw it. But I was 100% happy with the fight ending the way it did, from exhaustion, than me cruising and losing on points. That would have devastated me, because I felt like I would always felt like I could have gave more.
If you could look back as a spectator and that whole experience from starting at 19, going to Russia, taking on a world champion, what would you say to yourself if you were in that corner at the beginning of the 7th round? What advice would you give yourself?
Um, the advice I would have gave myself, you know what? I had this conversation the other day as well. I've been having a lot of conversations with it because I've been bored. You don't know what you're gonna do until you're in that situation. Tunde even said to me, he said, "Ant, I don't even remember saying what I said because it's heat of the moment. You're only gonna go by your adrenaline and all them kind of things." So, and again, never been in that situation. That's what the word experience is about. But just off of here, me sitting and relaxed, sitting in a chair doing nothing, I would say that I would have said something like, relax, breathe, take a deep breath, and I would have told myself what round it was. You know, it's only the 7th round. Take your time. You will catch them or whatever. Similar to like the early rounds. But when you're in the heat of the moment and the Dragon Ball Z mentality comes out of you and you want to power up to level 100 or you want to go Ultra Instinct and you want to power up, you know, sometimes you just have to say to yourself, forget it, I'm going for it because this is my opportunity. I want to take it with both hands. So that's boxing for you. Anyone that hasn't been in a boxing ring won't know how it is when you're in that moment. In boxing, it takes one punch to change everything. And sometimes I said to myself before the fight, when it gets to the 6th round, and once I hurt him, I'm going for it, because after the 6th round, the fighters usually they slow down. They're now in their rhythm. They're setting their way of fighting. And I said to myself, once it gets to the 6th round and I hurt him, because I'm going to hurt him at some point, I'm going for it, full throttle. My foot is going to the bottom of the pedal, and I'm going for it all the way. And that's what happened. It's just one of the things where, you know, I almost pulled it off, but it didn't go the right way.
And like you said, you've got plenty of years left in the game, plenty more fights to come. The Anthony that fought Kovalev and the Anthony's going to be boxing this year, hopefully, and years to come. How would you have developed from that learning experience to making sure the next time you're bringing home a belt?
I feel like we can only see once it happens. In my mind, you know, I'm a very confident individual. I would like to think I learnt the right things from that fight. I would like to think that I know what level I'm at. You're still going to see the same Anthony Yarde, the entertaining, explosive Anthony Yarde, but you're also going to see a bit more of an intelligent one as well. Boxing's a lot about decision making, and all it was that we can't say the wrong decision, but in terms of the result we wanted, we made the wrong decision at the wrong time. That's all it is. So the right decision at the right time, whether it was a round later, whether it was to, you know, go for it but not all guns blazing, be more tactical, use more boxing ability instead of just. Because when I look back at it, it was one bomb after another. It was right hand, left hand, right hand. Everything was telegraphed. So again, someone like Kovalev, with the experience he had, he just stayed on his jab, and he had a fantastic man in his corner, scaring him and saying, "I'm going to stop the fight. If you take another round at that, I'm going to stop the fight." And he just stayed on his jab, used his best tool, stayed on his jab, and it worked out for him.
Has your life in boxing made it easier for you to overcome a 2020 that's not been the easiest, it's not been the nicest, and it's been quite devastating for you and your family?
100%. And when I say that, it's not what I've achieved, it's not what, you know, I'm going to achieve. It's mainly the mentality that boxing drives into you. Or you know what, I have to say this. The mentality that boxing can drive into you. I have to take some responsibility for the way I think about things, because not a lot of boxers think like me. But how boxing's worked for me is that it's driven me to think more positively, driven me to do more research. You know, energy is transferable. Positive energy breeds positive energy. You can call it like the law of attraction. You know, you become what you think about. All these kind of things. So it's like, in that aspect, it has kind of like changed my way of thinking. So within changing your way of thinking, the outcome of your life is bound to be different.
Boxing's given you the tools to protect yourself, but also to build a life for yourself as well. Looking forward for the rest of this year and throughout your career, how will you continue to make your grandmother and father proud?
Continue to achieve what I've achieved. Continue to be the best man I can possibly be. Keep growing in all the areas that I want to grow in. And yeah, just win that world title.
I'm sure you will. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
The coronavirus pandemic has put society on the ropes. The virus's heavy blows have taken many lives and left even more mental scars. But like a boxer in the ring, we are slowly rising to our feet to continue making our loved ones proud. Antoine Allen, ITV News.